So this last month's assignment was definitely a tough one for me, and I learned quite a bit. My head definitely hurt after this. So here's a back side of my Commodore 64 keyboard I created. The back section here was a little tricky. In fact, I had to separate the top piece and the bottom piece just to create these a little easier on myself. This section right here, whether it's a printer port or an upgraded part, not sure, but this was probably my toughest section. I did this keyboard a dozen times before I finally got the grasp of hardening my edges, the edge loops, just the basic modeling. So creating all this, learning how to extrude, insert my edge loops, create a hard edge, this taught me a lot, just this one little section. Jeremy helped me out quite a bit throughout this. And finally it just clicked that I got it, which you can see. I mean, there's pieces in here that, Jeremy did point out that need some attention, and it's understandable, and I'd love to be able to go back and rework this and create a better model of this, even what it is now. On the side over here, I have a power button. There was a power cord connection port here, and there were other connection ports here. There's an audio-visual port here, which is supposed to be actually gold, but my lighting isn't the greatest here. I could have done a little better with that. In fact, let's see. Let's open up his Render Studio. Get mine in here. Get that. Alright. A lot better lighting of this now. Turn it off. Alright, so let's go back to the back side here. Alright. A little better lighting on the back here. So you can kind of see my motherboard that's on the inside here. I even created that. I didn't create the entire thing, but just the illusion of it. So anyway, you can see better at my other ports here, these ports. One part of this that I was kind of disappointed in was up here I was supposed to have an emitting light source, whether it was blue or red or orange. I was kind of disappointed that I just could not remember how to emit light from that, and I definitely want to go back and redo this sometime and add that to it. Also, I missed, there was supposed to be a logo of 64 on this part right here. Now, these keys, obviously I didn't have to create each one of these keys by themselves, but I did create each basic shape, like the control tab here, the space bar, one of these letter keys, the return key. So I had to model each one of those and easily map those, and then there was a grueling time period of putting each one of these letters on these keys, or these words on the keys, logos on the keys. That must have taken me 3 hours easy to do. It was just a repetitive process, but I think overall it ended up looking really good and it was worth it. I learned quite a bit of extruding as well with just these simple lines right here, these divots and impressions on the keyboard. All these lines up here all had to be extruded inward. That was a time process. Hardening my edges until I was able to really understand how to harden my edges. All of this was difficult. Just the cutout around these keys took me quite a bit of time. There was a part over here that just, when I smoothed it, it just didn't want to work. So I ended up having to recut this a couple times. You can again see my motherboard underneath here. This logo over here turned out really good. That was a lot of fun to do. Now the other part over here on the actual model itself, my reference, there was a section here where my extrude was supposed to stop and come up, and this was supposed to fit in the middle of it. I just wasn't able to get that right, and under the time constraint, I just had to call it quits on it. But that's another part that I would love to come back and redo, just to make it look better. But overall, I'm pleased with the coloring and the materials that I chose. So, yeah. Thank you, Jeremy.